halftime in what's already a two-touchdown game. As we are off to Orlando now to check in with Jonathan Coachman and our EA Sports Halftime Report. Coach? Welcome back. Charles and I settled into the booth, ready for quarter number 3. The Ravens set to receive the football, trailing here as we resume action in the third quarter. And he will not bring it out. It's a touchback. The Raven offense set at the line for this next drive. All in all, pretty manageable deficit, Charles, here as they start this third quarter offensively when you consider the fact that in the first 2 quarters, they had 2 costly turnovers.
I think you laid it out there perfectly, partner. Very tough to hold a lead going into the break if you continue to hand it over on multiple drives.
Yeah, and obviously, Charles, it'll be very tough to climb back into the game if those turnovers continue.
I would say borderline impossible. You keep turning it over, I don't know how you make up a deficit.
6 yards the pickup, and that's a first down. Now it's Jackson. And nowhere to fit that football in. It's knocked away and incomplete.
It certainly looked like someone was very confident in his ability to fit that one in. I would say he was overconfident because there wasn't a whole lot of separation there. Had that one covered pretty well downfield and knocked it away.
Up the middle they go with Drake. And that'll hurt the average a bit as this time they're able to get him behind the line. It'll go as a loss of a yard, so now they deal with 3rd and 11.
You've got to figure the further they fall behind, the more you think that they'll get away from the run. They're trying to stick with it, but the results, they just aren't there.
Play action. Now Jackson. He's caught on the sideline, but he's not going to have a first down. They say he was out of bounds, so a big call there. That brings up 4th. The Ravens send their punter out now as he's on to punt for the first time tonight. And that'll hit at the 5 and go into the end zone for a touchback. Set to begin their next drive, the Rams offense at the line. On first down, they'll start out with Akers. And he'll go down at the 26, following a gain of 6.
From the lineman to the guy running with it, that was a well-executed first down by the offense. With 2 shots left to get the first, you can get a little aggressive here on second down if you want and try for some bigger yardage.
Second down, they'll go with Akers again. And he is met in his tracks behind the line of scrimmage. It'll go down as a 2-yard loss, and it brings up a 3rd down.
It's real easy to say this running game needs to be better, but the reality is they've been given little time to actually find a place to run the football. It's almost like the defense is there on the handoff.
Now it's Stafford. Pass caught. It's been Skoranek. And they work this well upfield across the 45. That 3rd down conversion good for 23.
And now we get into the psychology of the whole thing because a lot of teams with a 2-score lead in the 3rd quarter, they almost become defensive with their offense, just playing not to lose. I think with this team, you got to figure at this point, this is a great spot for them to go into attack mode, really try and put the hammer down and finish this one off.
And he powers through the first wave, but he's going to be swallowed up behind the line of scrimmage.
When a draw works, it can be a thing of beauty, but when it doesn't, oh, it can be ugly. And in this case, loss of yardage ugly.
So the first down run lost a couple. Now they come up 2nd and 12. Now Stafford. And, oh, he's unable to hold on to that defensively. A potential game changer, but it falls incomplete.
You're down 2 touchdowns. You just know defensively you absolutely have to come up with a big play. That nearly was one right there.
Looked over at the sideline immediately after the drop and just saw the dejection. They felt it. They thought he had it. Unfortunately, couldn't come up with it. shot taken on third down, but it's going to wind up incomplete.
There is something to a game plan with trying to keep a defense honest. With a guy with that type of speed, you do so. Send him deep, try and throw some air under it, and hope you connect downfield. On that play, they were unsuccessful.
Dixon, the punter, is on as he sends it away. And that one hits at the 7, but bounds into the end zone, and that'll be a touchback. The Raven offense set at the line for this next drive. Over on the sideline, hoping to hit that reset button between possessions. Last time out, they had to punt it away. This time, hoping to finish this thing off in the end zone. Meanwhile, Jackson's throw into the hands of Andrews. And this will leave him a yard short. Nice pickup of 9 yards on first down.
Now that's staying ahead of the chains. Really good pickup on first down, hitting the tight end there. Now brings up a second and manageable.
Just found a hole in that zone. They go play action now. Jackson on the move to his left. And he'll be out of bounds across the 30-yard line. 4 yards there as they let him out of the pocket, and he got enough for the first.
It was starting to become a game for him to forget with the interceptions, but that's a step in the right direction. Not only did he choose to run it instead, but he saw the field well and made a nice pickup to get a new set of downs.
On first down, Drake, and he will lose yardage here to the 31-yard line. The all-everything defensive tackle, Aaron Donald, the one who made the play there.
An interesting and intriguing decision there defensively because they kept extra DBs on the field despite seeing the multiple tight end look that came out for the offense.
I thought they were going to switch out of it. I didn't know if they felt they didn't have time or what the case was.
Well, in any event, the extra speed allowed for great penetration as they stuffed that one behind the line of scrimmage.
So the completion good for 7 there. And it's 3rd and 4 now.
One thing you're hoping for when you run drag routes, you're able to hit a receiver in stride, and he can pick up a lot of yardage after the catch. But in this situation, the defense was effective, able to stop him before he could get a good head of steam going.
They take a shot downfield there, but it winds up falling incomplete.
Quarterbacks work all the time on manipulating the defense with their eyes and their head movement. In this case, he just stared the receiver down. That allowed for excellent coverage, able to knock that one away.
On 4th down, the punt team is on as this is sent away. And this is going to hit the goal line and continue on into the end zone for a touchback. Set to begin their next drive, the Rams offense at the line. This is sort of what you would call a put-away drive, isn't it? They score here, especially a touchdown. It's almost out of reach.
It certainly feels that way, and I think that they're going to call their plays accordingly because what you really want to do, even though you know the scoreboard is still up there and the game's going to go on, in fact, you can take the spirit away from another team, that their drive and will to come back and win can be taken with another score right here.
Yeah, still 3rd quarter, but you just get that feel.
Yeah, they're teetering right there on the brink, aren't they?
On 2nd and 7, Stafford. And it's incomplete. Took a shot, couldn't connect.
They certainly thought he had an open look beyond the first down marker to his receiver, but they just couldn't connect, and that will send them back to the drawing board.
The offense on 3rd down tonight, they've hit 2 for 4 thus far. This is 3rd and 7. Stafford. Down. The Ravens able to get to him. JPP cruising in for the sack that time. Here's Riley Dixon now as he's on to punt for L.A. This is taken at the 23. A solid 12-yard return after the 55-yard punt. And out will come the offense as they take over.
At their own 35-yard line.
The Raven offense set at the line for this next drive. Their defense was able to force the punt. That's the good news. But this is still a two-score game, and they need points on this drive and in a relatively quick manner. You got the big lead defensively. Willing to give them that underneath stuff, right?
And this is why you work on your tackling. Tackle them after the catch, inbounds, keep the clock running. Just go ahead and bleed the game out that way.
From the gun, it's Drake. And good running there as he'll take this all the way up to midfield. 58 yards on the ground for him now on 9 carries.
Well, definitely see some open running lanes, and he's taking advantage of it right now, but that shouldn't be a surprise. Defense has the lead. They're playing for the pass first.
From midfield now, here's Jackson. A quick throw there going to be batted away and incomplete.
Textbook coverage right there. Played the ball, never lost sight of where it was headed, and stayed in perfect position to make a play on it. Able to keep the receiver and the quarterback in his sight lines.
To throw once more on 2nd and 10. Jackson, he's going to float this one deep right side. Oh, for the 3rd time, Jackson going to be intercepted. Picked off by David Long. And the Rams are going to take over at their own 41. Well, time, certainly not on their side offensively. They had to take some chances, but that interception will further hinder their already slim chance at victory.
Yeah, and you're talking about time not on their side, but it certainly is on the defense's side, and they understood that. They knew they had to press it a little bit, and they planned accordingly, and what a benefit for them, able to pick that one off and hopefully put this game away.
Set to begin their next drive, the Rams offense at the line. And he can only manage to get a couple. 2nd and 8 coming up. Got to figure now, after getting that turnover, they're just going to be happy to keep the ball on the ground, right?
This is where covering the football, taking care of the ball, all the ball security terms that have ever been used, they come into play for the guys on offense right now. Just take care of it, and they've got a good chance of ending up winning this game.
Meanwhile, Stafford's throw pulled in by Robinson here. And they'll get him down on the other side of midfield.
They kept the receiver in the short field, but that let his quarterback get the ball quickly to him before either guy in double coverage could react.
So signs of life in what's been a dormant offense in this second half. Here's 1st and 10. Stafford going to give this to Akers. And a 6-yard gain gets him right around the 43.
I have to chuckle to myself a little bit, Brandon, because right now I could be in that huddle with that offensive line. I know exactly what they're saying. If you call a pass play here, we're going to call timeout. Run the football. We've got control of this thing. Get in behind us and let's go.
Their time to shine. And the stop here will come at the 38-yard line. A gain of 5, good enough for the 1st down.
And sometimes things come together exactly like you want. It's not just been the volume of carries he's had in this contest. It's been the production as well.
2 minutes left to play in this football game here on EA Sports. So here's a 1st and 10 at the 38. They'll go again here with Akers. And I think this defense knew what was coming as he is smothered behind the line. Officially, it's a 1-yard loss. That's going to bring up 2nd and 11. Throwing here, Stafford. He's going to let this go. Back of the end zone. And that's going to be incomplete. Good effort there, trying to take a shot, but it's 3rd down. Despite the lead here in the 4th, they're still taking shots.
Not content to sit on this lead at all. And to me, it raises the question of what's right in this game nowadays. Do you sit on the ball and run it because you have enough of a lead? Or do you try and extend it because you always feel like the other team can come back?
Extend it. Have some fun. And a dangerous throw there as that's knocked down and incomplete.
I think it's safe to say that he's made some questionable decisions out there so far. Forced some throws into tight coverage. He's already been picked off in this game. 4th down now, but he's fortunate on that one not to have another turnover on his ledger.
So they hadn't called on him at all until this point, but he comes through here and buries one from long range.
Yeah, that's awfully impressive because usually kickers like to get that first one out of their system in the 1st quarter, sort of get them into the flow of the game, but to come in this late and knock it down from long distance, give him a lot of credit.
after the made field goal. Gay back out there to kick it off. No run back here for Duvernay. Touchback out to the 25. The Raven offense set at the line for this next drive. Where we stand right now in the fourth quarter, this one pretty much out of reach. And, Charles, I know they're going to be disappointed about several things with this ball game, but the self-inflicted wounds, they've had several turnovers. You would have to think that's going to be something they're going to discuss heavily in the film session in the coming days.
You're absolutely right about that, partner, because they're going to have to sit in that film room and watch every error that they made and figure out how to not do it in the future. And mentally, I think a lot of the guys are already starting to think about, okay, how do we put this behind us and get better for the next time out? This, they'll use as motivation for the rest of the time that they play to hopefully never be in this type of situation again.
To throw again on second down, Jackson. And for the fourth time tonight, it's an interception. Taylor Rapp with a pick. And the Rams are going to take possession as they've got it at the 42-yard line. All smiles and high fives on that defensive sideline. That interception will cap off what was truly a tremendous performance.
Yeah, if you can hold a team to 7 points in the NFL, that's the kind of day that you feel really good about. Now, I do know a few guys are going to think to themselves, held them to 7. If we'd made one more play, could have had our shutout.
Looking deep downfield. And incomplete on the deep ball.
They're certainly not letting up on the pressure in this one. And oftentimes you hear this expression, all gas, no break from defenses. But in this case, it's the offense still throwing the football up big in the fourth quarter.
An incomplete pass on first down. That leads to a 2nd and 10. Stafford going to throw it. And that is incomplete.
This defense has passed its first 2 tests by forcing back-to-back incompletions. They know there's probably another throw coming out third down. Let's see if they decide to force the issue by sending people on a blitz.
Now they face a 3rd and 10 after back-to-back incompletions. Here's Stafford. And the Raven pressure too much. Down he goes. The Ravens going to use the 2nd of their timeouts as they'll stop it with a little over 30 ticks to go in the football game. Here's Riley Dixon now as the drive goes backwards, so he's on to punt it away. This is away and a very good kick angled for the sidelines. And this will be out of bounds. Now it's a question of where they'll mark it. And they'll say it crosses at the 11-yard line. The Raven offense set at the line for this next drive. What do you do here down like this in this situation? Do you maybe just pick something out of the playbook you haven't called in a while, or you call it a day?
You can do that, or you pick something that's a staple for you and should work better and try and execute that on the way out the door and maybe get back to base and feel a little bit better as you end a ball game that's been a frustrating one for you.
We'll see if they go back to base. Again on 2nd and 10, it's Jackson. And he's going to go down. Back at his own 5-yard line, it's a sack. So the L.A. Rams with a victory here. And it was their defense that really made the statement after the break. They pitched the second-half shutout.
Yeah, think about the team that just got vanquished. They did score in the second quarter. Do you think they thought at all that would be their last points of the game?
No, but what a second half. The adjustment, whatever they did in the locker room, it certainly worked.
It certainly did, and you're exactly right. Whether it was an adjustment, whether it was just more focus on what they planned to do going in, whether they just played better, whatever it was, it all came together in the second half, and no points were allowed. That's a great way to close them out.